Hello everyone, welcome to Community with MC. This is MC with Pacific Wide Real Estate and Mortgage. Today our special guest is Richard Lam, and he is a licensed marriage family therapist. I would like you to get to know him with me. So Richard, hello Richard, please say hi to the people.
Hi everyone, and thank you for having me, Min Chao. Really excited to be here.
Of course. Thank you for coming over here because you work in Manview and then you come over here. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
So can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
My name is Richard Lam. I'm part of a group practice called the Feeling Good Institute. I'm a licensed marriage family therapist. And a big part of what I do at the Feeling Good Institute is I help treat people with anxiety, depression, kind of relationship problems, and even anger, or even habits or addictions. And the great thing that we do here is we do kind of this advanced version of cognitive behavioral therapy, where when people think of traditional therapy, they think of going in and talking about your problems and then feeling better. With cognitive behavioral therapy, what we do is we still listen to your problems and help support you in those. And at the same time, we want to set specific goals and talk about the problems that you're having and teach you skills to help you achieve your goals and overcome those problems. And essentially teaching you to be your own therapist, so that way you wouldn't need our help anymore. And kind of our job is to work ourselves out of the job, but of course you're always welcome back to learn new skills or get refresher on skills too, to help kind of manage the symptoms or to help achieve those goals once again. And another part of what we do at the Feeling Good Institute is we're a training center too. We train a lot of different therapists in this model of therapy to help have this more highly effective treatment for a lot of patients where they recover very quickly in a short amount of time.
Wow. So what you're saying is you help people to you train them to get out of their own problem. But do you need to use medicine for those, or you just have a method of a way to do it?
Yeah, so medicine isn't required for this type of treatment. However, it could be helpful at times. However, I've seen a lot of people who've worked with me and they recovered without medication, and it's all kind of learning different tools to help reframe your thoughts and really change your thinking to help you feel a lot better and decrease your anxiety or depression tremendously, or even improve communication and help relationships.
Wow, that's really awesome. So can you tell me a little bit about your daily work? Who do you meet every day?
Yeah, so a big part of who I meet here in Mountain View actually is we get a lot of people from tech companies who are kind of feeling really stressed and anxious because of their work, and at the same time they're running into a lot of relationship difficulties with either their parents or their spouse, and they run into a lot of these conflicts because there might be kind of a lot of stressors that are going on in their life, or even cultural issues that are going on that influences the way they think too.
Wow. Okay. So you are working with mostly people stressful or mental health patients daily. So what do you recognize?
So some of the things I'm recognizing, especially in the Bay Area, is and even more specifically in kind of the Asian populations, is that a lot of people, they kind of grew up with this mentality of I need to achieve, I need to do better, and it's kind of the pressures might be coming from their parents at times, where their parents, they came in, they had really difficult lives, and they're coming to America for a second chance, and they put a lot of resources into their kids, and they care and love them so much that they want them to do well. There's a lot of pressures, again, all A's, right? And because of that, they achieve so much. They are here today in these high-tech companies making a lot of money and doing well and being really successful. however, kind of like the pattern that's coming up for them is that mentality is still going on for them. Now they're in this environment where everyone's high achieving. So since everyone's high achieving, they're kind of like the average now. And they're not okay with being average. They want to be the best performing person. And because of that, they have so much stress and anxiety, and they feel like an imposter, kind of like this imposter syndrome. And they really struggle like with relationship too, maybe because of the stress or because they've been so focused on performing well and doing well in school and getting a high achieving job that they haven't gotten a lot of skills in working with like relationships and how to improve conflicts and relationships and create that intimacy.
So as you recognize that there are so much of the patient have the stress issue and anxiety issue or depression issue because of the family and the society expectation and even at work, at work environment. So recognizing that, how can we help those people? Actually, I think a lot of us, maybe including myself.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up. And just having this like interview today, I think it is going to bring a lot of awareness to a lot of people in our society today. Because I feel like mental health is like kind of like a stigma when it comes to the Asian population. Like a lot of people feel ashamed to deal with these issues. They're trying to push it aside and not seek help for it. And one great thing is today is World Mental Health Day, so this would be really helpful to know and kind of spread that awareness today. And part of this is a lot of people, they do feel really ashamed of seeking help, and it's so strange because a lot of times people, they like when they feel really anxious or depressed, they push it aside. And they don't want to seek help, but if they have a cold or they hurt their wrist or something, they would see a doctor. They seek professional help when it comes to physical issues, and when it comes to mental issues, they kind of just push it aside, and because of that, things can get worse and even more horrible for them. And it's so strange because a lot of people who, when you're running into an issue, you seek professional help. Like if you don't know how to fix a toilet, you hire a plumber and they help you fix it, and you kind of get that additional support. So that's why I think it's important to get that mental health support too, where if you don't know how to fix what's going on for you in terms of like depression or anxiety, it's helpful to get that the professional help there.
Definitely. I think I even know some people, when they have the mental issue or depression or anxiety, they don't accept that they need help. They think they can handle it, but I see that that's not true. Because if they seek for help, if they get help, I think they can perform better in their life and live a much better, happy life.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, Min Chao. And kind of like there's a lot of things that are happening in the news that people are reading these days. And for example, I think like a few weeks ago, someone from Facebook, they took their own life.
Just a few weeks? Yeah. Someone from working at Facebook?
Yeah, and I think a big part of it is there's like so much stress and anxiety that comes along with it, maybe even like some bullying that's going on, and they're not able to handle that situation, and they just feel so overwhelmed with no support, and at that point it could lead to something as extreme as taking your own life.
Oh, that's so sad. That's really sad. Yeah, I think a lot of the people who have mental health issue or anxiety or depression issue, when they don't get help, and at some point when they can't handle it anymore, they just let go, and that's what happened. That's really sad. Could you please tell us a story that's happening right now? It's like you helping someone or some story.
Yeah, absolutely. And probably change kind of like some of the details and names just to protect their identity. But let's say there's a person that I'm working with, let's say his name's Fred, and he works for a high-tech company where he's an engineer. And a big part of this is Fred grew up kind of like in this normal Asian American family where he's first generation. He's trying to perform well and make his parents proud, but he has really high standards from himself. He only accepts A's. He doesn't anything less than an A is not okay with him. And because of that, he's been performing so well. He's been doing well in school. He's getting into the top schools, and after that, he's working at this really prestigious tech company where he's doing well, making a lot of money. However, he's been so focused with like school and doing well that he lacks some communication skills in terms of like relationships too. So he's kind of like a really shy person. He doesn't really know how to interact, and he might feel a little bit lonely, and he has a lot of something called imposter syndrome, where he feels like he's an imposter, like he doesn't belong at his workplace.
Oh no.
And I think a big part of this kind of contributes to a lot of his anxiety too, where he feels he has thoughts like everyone's going to find out that I don't belong here, that I'm not good enough to be here.
Oh no.
And he just every day just is filled with anxiety and kind of depression because he feels like he's not going to do well. He can be fired at any moment. And kind of like the point where he came to see me for treatment was when he got one of his performance reviews, and it wasn't a bad review or anything. It said that he was meeting his expectations at work, and it would like list all the good things that he's been doing, all the beneficial things that he should continue doing. And there's also kind of like 2 or 3 criticisms that like working points where he can improve and do a better job. And after reading that, he discounted like all the positive things, and he only focused on the negatives. And because of that, he was just like beating himself up every day, and he just couldn't live with it. And he went home, and he brought all this home with him, and he felt really horrible and inadequate and not good enough, really self-conscious, and he just wanted to kind of like numb those feelings away. So what he would do is start drinking, so he can like forget about it. So every day for him would be go to work and experience these difficulties, go home and start drinking so he can forget about it, and every day would be a repeat, and his life was so unsatisfying for him. And he finally decided to come in to see me. And
that's good.
Yeah, and I was like so excited to work with him too and teach him these skills. And the great thing is he's a really quick learner. And we kind of like listed all his like feelings and trying to understand it a little more, understand his thoughts, and really change the way that he was thinking to help him improve more, and let go of the dependency on the alcohol and overcome his stress and his imposter syndrome. And day by day, he just felt so much better, and he had the skills to help himself. And after about like 2.5 months,
that's it?
3, yeah. And yeah, he just felt so much better after that. And thanked me, and he was on his way. And like a year or so later, he emailed me. He told me that he was doing so much better now, and because he wasn't so worried about what other people were thinking of him and how well he was performing, he was more able to focus on his job, and he was performing so much better, and he got that promotion he wanted.
Oh my
God. He was doing so great after that.
I'm so happy to hear the story.
Yeah,
so as the story turned out to be good, because he looked for your help, and then you help him to change his thinking and recognize that he have like you call it imposter syndrome. So it's like a disease, or is it a disease?
It's more of kind of like the way that we think. Like a lot of people these days, they think they're like an imposter, in that they go into work and they're thinking, oh, I don't really belong here, and at any moment someone's going to find out, and I'm going to get fired, or they're going to push me away. So I have to continue keeping up this act of trying to belong.
And because of that negative thinking, he was so depressed and stressed and anxiety, and then he drank a lot to forget about all his sadness and worry. And oh my God, that's sad. So I think that also remind me of the people, like the student that we talk about, this issue where when they have so much stress at school, they also find a way out. normally, what do they do? Like for student, like in college, normally what they do when they so much stress, so much expectation. Because I also heard story from people from Harvard or Yale school. Those university are very tough because all the students there are number one student. They are completely awesome student. But when they get into that environment, they all stress out because of the workload, because of the expectation of the family. So normally, what do you see happen to those students?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. When kind of like in these really competitive schools, things kind of get really difficult because everyone's essentially competing against one another, and their expectations are really high. And since the expectations are high, it kind of raises the standard for a lot of these kids, and they put more work into it. They're so focused on school and wanting to be kind of like better than the rest and to get those A's, right?
Yeah.
And there's kind of a few things that could happen. They either live like the rest of their school days feeling very stressed and so depressed and kind of suffering a lot the entire time they're there. The other thing that could happen is they turn to alcohol or drugs to help manage those symptoms, to get some relief because they've been suffering so much. And the most extreme is when people take their own life. That's it. I'm not sure if you're aware, but kind of like in the more competitive schools around here, like in Palo Alto, like at high school, a lot of the students, they take their own life because it's so competitive and so stressful.
Oh my God. That's really scary when you talk about it, because I actually talked to a few students from those very famous school, university, and they said it become to the point it's too hard, it's too difficult for them to continue, but they don't know what to do because they don't want to lose a trust or expectation from their parents or family. They like they're in the middle, they stuck, they don't know what to do. They can't just back out and go to a different school, but they try to stay there, but then they suffer, like you say, and some of them just take their own life and risk it.
Yeah,
that's really sad.
I totally agree with you on that one. It is really sad, and a part of this too is it's a lot of great things that kind of shows about them as well. Like they have really strong family values. They really respect their parents, their family. They don't want to embarrass them in any way or bring shame to the family. And because of that, it does create a lot of that distress. And
but I think that's a really wrong thinking, because I also talked to a few parents. They also have children in very famous school, and one of the parents told me, my daughter called me and said, "Oh my God, it's too much here. It's too much for me." And the dad said, "You know what, baby, just come home. Just come home. You can go home. You can think about what else you want to do. You can go to a different school." Oh my God, I really appreciate and admire that kind of parents, because that I know him for a long time, and he's so kind. Of course, everybody wants the kids to do best and to be famous. I mean, to be successful, but what if they can handle the stress?
You're absolutely right, and I think a big part of it is parents, in the end, what they really care about is their kids. They don't want them to suffer.
No, I want my kids to be happy.
Yeah.
I just want my kids to be healthy and happy. No, not more than that, right?
And a big part of why they put so much pressure on their kids is they want them to make the money and be okay in the future so they can enjoy their life. But part of the process of kind of going to school and putting pressure on themselves is they create a lot of anxiety and depression that's going on for them. And if they can just like have this healthy communication with their parents and kind of like talk about what's been going on for them, if kind of like the world was more open to mental health issues, right, and being okay with discussing this is kind of like a serious thing that's going on, then we can really prevent a lot of those difficulties.
Wow. I hope that we can talk more about this issue maybe next time. I have another question for you is I see that in this environment, this society, because people are so stressful, I see a lot of relationship problem. So do you kind of know what stress is one of the cause? Is any other thing that caused the relationship issue?
Yeah, when I kind of think of relationship issues, I think of kind of like three things. Well, when you all sum it up, actually, in terms of relationship, a lot of it does relate back to kind of responsibility and blame. And a lot of times, if you can give up blaming the other person and accepting full responsibility for what you're doing, and kind of like managing your own thoughts and feelings, you can see a lot of improvement. And kind of from there, we would teach them more of how to be more empathetic and how to communicate better using something called the 5 Secrets of Effective Communication. And we have over 50 different tools that we can teach someone to increase more intimacy and caring and closeness and just overall satisfaction in relationships.
Yeah, I think I agree with you in terms of responsibility, like responsible for our own, whatever we do or whatever we say. If we're responsible for our own attitude, I think we could create a much better relationship with the people around us, and we can become a better person. And I also see that you helping your client with behavioral, what do you call behavioral?
Cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah. So I think that has to do with anger. So what caused the anger and how to handle the angers, or they just need to come to you and talk to you so you can help them to handle that. Can you please tell just a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So earlier I was kind of mentioning there's kind of like 3 issues that could possibly come up, and one of them is kind of like the anger, which is also split into 3 sections, is kind of like their mood when it comes to it. When someone feels really depressed or anxious, society these days, it's something that you should like push aside, right? Which is kind of unfair to think about. And one of the emotions that is more appropriate or you're able to show is anger. So a lot of people, they use anger to kind of protect themselves from these more vulnerable feelings. So one way is to dealing with the anxiety or depression or feeling of inadequacy or kind of blaming themselves. And the other thing is kind of like relationships. Sometimes anger comes up in relationships where it's kind of like this dynamic that happens where one person responds in one way, they play a certain role, and the other person plays this angry role, and then they just get into this toxic kind of rules and roles in these relationships. And by addressing that and kind of figuring out a different way to change the dynamics in the relationship, that can improve it as well. And the last thing that can be really helpful in terms of addressing the anger is sometimes anger is kind of seen as more of kind of like a habit where, like, for example, a habit might be like every day you remember to brush your teeth, so you go brush your teeth at night. And really similarly is anger could be a habit where when someone says something, you just act out in anger automatically. You don't really know why. But it's just something that you've done all your life, and it just becomes a habit. And one way of changing it is to really adjusting that habit and learning new tools to help you learn new ways to prevent that from coming up.
So there is a way to change, like from a person who is very angry to a person who is less angry or no more angry. So there is a way.
Absolutely.
That's so. In order for people to do that, they have to come to your office to get help. Is that right?
Yeah, so they can come to my office to get help on any one of these issues: the anxiety, depression, relationship, even kind of like the anger portion of it, or even like another habit, or even addiction.
Everything.
Yeah, there's always like opportunity for growth and improvement and learning new things, right? And even if it's someone who has a little bit of anxiety, feel free to come on in and they can like work on it and be better. And another option is part of what we do. I work at the Feeling Good Institute, and our focus is on this advanced version of cognitive behavioral therapy, and it's revolving around this book called Feeling Good. And the Feeling Good book, it's by David Burns. he teaches it in kind of like a self-help kind of way, and we work really closely with David Burns and helping teach his model of therapy to all therapists.
Oh, wow.
But one good introductory way to get introduced to this is maybe even purchasing that book. I think it's like very cheap and expensive, like maybe $10 or something on Amazon, and it's a self-help book, so they can just go through it, and it might help them tremendously. It's something I always recommend to all my patients is, hey, if you don't want to spend all this money to go to therapy and time, what you can do is just get this book, and sometimes by doing it, you can feel tremendously better after it, and you don't have to come in. It kind of saves you time and effort, right? And one way of another thing is if you're finding that it's kind of difficult to get through the book, always welcome to come in and work through the issues.
I think the books, there's so many books, and then people can read books and can read many books, but nothing happened, nothing changed. I think for a lot of us who have any issue with mental health or like anger problem or anxiety or depression, I think we should look for help, because it's so hard to do it by ourselves. It's really hard. And what I like about, because now I pay attention to the name of the company, Feeling Good Institute. That's a really good name. I mean, it means it. You help people to get out of all that negative thinking, negative habit or behavior or attitude, to become more positive, more happy. And of course, when they're happy, they're positive, they must feel good. So your company name is Feeling Good. That's awesome. Wow. So, and also I just want one more time saying that when people come to you, it's not about medicine. You don't use medicine to cure their problem, but you help them by giving them a tool or instructing them how to change their thinking, change their behavior to become positive and happy.
Yeah, exactly. We have over 50 powerful tools that we can teach someone and to really overcome any of the issues that they're facing in terms of like their mental health. And a big part of this is it can improve the quality of their life so greatly to the point where they don't have to experience these negative feelings anymore.
So what are the ages of the patient who come to your office?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have a lot of different therapists with different expertise. So it ranges between age 5 all the way to however old.
Oh, really? Like you said, you have many different doctors there. What they each of them specialize in this different kind of issue?
Yeah, so a lot of us we specialize in specific issues, and at the same time we specialize in broad ranges too, in terms of just anxiety or depression. And we all have different specialties, and at the same time we also provide different models of therapy too, in terms of individual therapy, which you come in one-on-one. We have family therapy, where you come in as a family and work on things together, and couples therapy, if you want to come in with your spouse or your partner, and kind of working through those aspects as well.
Wow. So I'm just curious about the anger issue, because I think a lot of us have that problem. And you said that, how long does it take for an average, how long does it take for a person to get rid of that habit of being angry?
Yeah, so the great thing about this model of therapy is we choose certain tools to help you be your own therapist, and we put in a lot of practice. It's kind of like you come in every week and you learn the skills and you practice it after the session until the next session. It's kind of like if you want to learn tennis, you hire a tennis coach and you practice tennis with your coach, and they teach you exactly what you need to do. Like, you need to change your forehand, practice this forehand, and then we'll come back and I'll look it over again. So they, in between their sessions with your tennis coach, you're kind of practicing every day, playing tennis,
by
and
yourself.
improving. Yeah, exactly. Really similarly is we teach them certain tools in session, and then in between our sessions they practice that tool over and over again, kind of like repeating it and improving that skill, so that way they can kind of cement it in their mind and eventually be their own therapist. They don't need our help because we taught them how to do
That's
it.
awesome. That's really awesome. I didn't know there's such a thing. I'm so happy you're here today. I really appreciate it that you share with us about what you do and from your company. Thank you so much. Do you have any other thing you want to send, like a message to our audience?
Yeah, I think a big part of this is just spreading the word that mental health isn't necessarily something you should be ashamed of or that people would look down on you for, because everyone experiences things for their mental health, whether it's anxiety or depression or even like relationship issues. And part of this is it's okay to seek help, and if you want to reach out to me, I can help you with seeking that help, whether it's from me or somebody else. I can provide really wonderful referrals for you in your area or somewhere else. Really depends on.
So you can refer people. For example, we are because your company is in Mountain View.
Mm-hmm.
If people in San Jose, so they can ask you where to go, so that they can go locally, right?
Yeah, exactly. So a big part of our institute is we train so many different therapists in this model of therapy. So we have people all around the world where they can provide this really effective type of treatment. And I gladly refer anyone to any of my colleagues that are well trusted in this model. And at the same time, another option we do is one thing that I do a lot, one thing that I specialize in is video therapy. So you can do it online on a very secure video platform, kind of like Skype, but one that's HIPAA compliant. And part of this is you can get these resources anywhere these days, and it's just so amazing. In fact, we have something called intensive therapies too, where someone might come in from anywhere around the world, and they can stay here for a week and do 20 hours of individual therapy. And we have people from all around the world, from like Vietnam, from China, from Germany to even India, coming in and staying for a week and getting this treatment, like very intense 20 hours, and feeling so much better after they left, and continue to practice the skills and continue to do well over and over again.
Oh, that is good. That's awesome. I didn't know about that at all, but thank you for sharing that. That's really awesome. Thank you. So if you know anyone or any of your family member or friends or co-worker or yourself feeling worried all the time, stressed all the time, or like depressed all the time, or somebody with anger issue, I recommend you or your family or your friends or co-worker or anyone you know to get help from the Feeling Good Institute. I think it's always good to live a happy life, right? And I want everybody to live a happy life. I want my family, my daughter, my friends, my co-worker, I want everybody to have a happy life. So I think you do the same. So if you think that video is informative and might help someone, please share it. Comment. If you have any question you want to talk to Richard, his number is 650-567-6496. Again, 650-567-6496. That's your number, your work number. So you can call Richard, this number, and you can get help from him. Thank you so much, Richard.
Thank you, Michelle.
So you can say goodbye now.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. See you next week. Bye-bye.